We begin tonight with the global reaction to President Trump's mass tariffs. U.S. stocks ended the day deep in the red, marking the steepest sell-off since 2020, when COVID first hit. Like COVID, it was a phenomenon that extended around the globe. The main stock market index in the UK ended down 1.5%, while Japan's Nikkei dropped 2.7%. U.S. officials warned other nations not to respond. CBS's Ramy Inocencio joins me from London. Ramy, how are those allies responding to these trade actions?
Well, John, it has been a rough day, continues to be, and around the world, it's blanket frustration, confusion, and anger. And its presidents and its prime ministers from Europe to Asia huddling with their advisors and their business leaders, trying to really figure a way to make sure, basically, that their economies don't break. Here are some of those world leaders.
There seems to be no order in the disorder, no clear path through the complexity and chaos.
The administration's tariffs have no basis in logic, and they go against the basis of our two nations partnership.
Nobody wins in a trade war. That is not in our national interest.
French President Emmanuel Macron called Trump's tariffs a catastrophe. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz said that they're an attack on a system. He pointed out that America itself helped achieve post-World War II. Basically, to your question, John, no one outside the United States, that is saying that this is a good thing.
Well, and there's, as you know, plenty of disagreement here in the States. Ramy, okay, so they don't like it, but are they listening to the warnings that they should not respond, the warnings from the administration?
For the most part, yes, but for now, John. At this point, the most concrete pushback we're seeing is coming from Canada to the north. Prime Minister Mark Carney says that Ottawa will impose 25% tariffs on U.S.-made automobiles that right now don't comply with the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement, the USMCA. So that means vehicles that don't have at least 75% of its parts made in North America. But elsewhere in the world, there are threats, many threats of retaliation, but nothing concrete, like European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen saying that the EU is preparing countermeasures. But ultimately, it looks like many are hoping to negotiate. The idea here, the fear here, John, is that if you retaliate, Trump might double, might even triple down on more tariffs.
That's right. Ramy Inocencio in London for us. Thank you so much. For more on the potential global and domestic ripple effects of these tariffs, I'm joined by Maurice Obstfeld. He is a senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Thank you so much for joining me. For the everyday person just wading into this trade tariff war, what can you help them understand exactly what is happening now that the president has made this move?
Well, stock markets are obviously tumbling around the world, as you've reported. We're waiting to see many of the tariffs go into effect. Once they do, prices for domestic consumers in the U.S. and businesses will rise soon after. And of course, foreign countries are shocked, and some of them panicked and trying to figure out how they want to respond to this, which is really an attack by President Trump on the global trading system.
What are the kinds of decisions companies are having to make right now that had a big trading practice?
Well, this is very different from what a uniform across-the-board tariff would have been, what President Trump basically campaigned on, because different tariff rates apply to different countries. And so, if you have an extended global supply chain, you're wondering if you need to source from different countries, source from low tariff countries. That causes a lot of uncertainty. It causes switching costs. It's a very disruptive process. And that, I think, is going to disrupt global trade even more than a simple uniform tariff would have done.
Explain switching costs. I was talking to a business today that was just talking about the churn of trying to pivot and what that's going to cost them.
Well, I mean, imagine that you're sourcing rubber from Indonesia, which has a pretty high tariff rate. You can also source it from Liberia, which has a 10% tariff rate. But then you need to find new suppliers. The costs of moving stuff out of Liberia are much higher, and it can take time, and it costs a lot of money. So I don't think any of these importing firms are happy about this at all.
And finally, the president said America had been, quote, looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far and denied a turn to prosper. That was his description of U.S. trade before. In about the 30 seconds we have left, what was the trade picture before?
Well, I'm not sure what he's thinking of, maybe the 19th century, but America fostered a multilateral, rules-based global trading system after World War II. It helped America prosper. It helped the world prosper. And America is still the most prosperous country on earth. So I don't really find his condemnation of the global trading system and his characterization as of the U.S. as being a victim is really very convincing.
Maurice Obstfeld, Senior Fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.